Now I want to introduce you to what we call our roof compactor box. And this box you'll see has a hole right here, and it has bus bars in here that have much larger openings for your output cable. The smaller screws will easily handle the 10 gauge wire that comes from each panel end, and that would be, this is a short piece of this cable. This is cable we have built. It's round, it's light gray, it's really flexible, okay, and has filler in it so that there's two 10 gauge conductors and then filler to keep it round, so that when you go through a weather tight fitting that's got a round hole in it, and then you tighten this down, it squeezes against there and no water can get in. It's truly a weather tight fitting. So this is 10 gauge wire. Each of your solar panels will have its own piece of this coming from it to this box. So what we typically do is we look inside the RV and we try to find the best way down. We look for a floor to ceiling cabinet or behind a refrigerator or in a closet, or we find the best place to get wire from the roof down to the bays or into a cabinet inside the rig, depending on what kind of rig you have. And so we'll find that spot and we'll drill the hole through your roof. And then we'll set let's just pretend this is the wire coming up from the roof, then we'll set the box over that wire, and there's a slot in there so you can see that, you can move it around if there's an obstacle on the roof, and you can come in from this way or this way or this way, slide back and forth, whatever. So we have that wire coming up through the roof, and where it comes through the roof, we take this, this is like a caulk tape. It's just caulk in a tape form. And we'll take and wrap that around the wire where it comes through the roof. And that's there to create a dam, so that when we use Dicor, there's a raised edge inside of here, so you end up with like 3/8 of an inch deep of Dicor. So once this dam is in place, we fill that all up with a Dicor self-leveling sealant, and it'll surround the wire and go down, hit this dam so it doesn't drip into your RV or into the roof, and it'll fill this area up in here, and there's like no way water's getting in there. Prior to that, we run a bead around the perimeter of this box, and then we do an X across it with the Dicor, and then we slide it across the wire on your roof, and when you push it down on the roof, that Dicor oozes out all four sides. There are 1, 2, 3 holes. If you go on the bottom, you'll see 1, 2, 3 holes, and we give you the stainless steel sheet metal screws, so you screw those 3 down to your roof, and then that holds this box into place. And that Dicor will ooze out all around it, and so no water can get under it or down through here and into your roof, so it becomes watertight. And then you can put this on your roof wherever is the most efficient place to put it. And then you'll see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4 pre-molded knockouts for the panels, but there's room to drill 1, 2, 3, 4 more, so you could have 8 individual panels coming into here, and there's enough room in here to hold 8 panels and up to 1/0 wire coming down. Rarely do we go over 2 gauge wire from the roof down, but if you really wanted to, you could run 1/0 cable up to this box and carry the power of 8 panels down into your charge controller. So once that's all screwed down to the roof, then or if you know how many panels you're going to use, then I would take something like a hammer. We need to knock out one of these knockouts. The strongest point of this is at the bottom, because you got this panel here. This top can flex. I don't know if you can see that or not. So when you're knocking out a knockout, you want to put your knockout tool on the back of the box, okay? So that it has the most resistance there, and then you just knock it out. And you don't break anything in the process. And now you have your hole. Sometimes it's good to just kind of run a screwdriver or something, any plastics in there that are in the way. And then you would take your weather tight fitting. You're going to put it into that hole. If you have a couple of pieces of plastic left hanging in that hole from where this broke out, it kind of gives you something for those screws to bite onto. Okay, so you know it's going in tight. Then you would, put your lock nut on it. Let me go ahead and cinch this on down here. So I'm going to take it all the way in until it hits the box. Okay, then I'll put this lock nut on the back side of it. And then just to make sure it's locked, I just kind of use the last couple of taps of the if that's not coming out, it's tight, there's no water going to get in, it's got a bevel in there. So that's how we would route the wire in. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for now. Let me get this out of the way. So again, this is going to be coming from one of your panels, and it will be long enough once we buy our kit. And I come in here and I like to start filling in the front first. So I come in here, I push in enough wire to make sure I can get over to one of the bus bars. I kind of mark, I know that I've got a strip about, looks like 4 or 5 inches off of there. I can just take a thumbnail and just dent that jacket, and when you pull it out, you can still see your dent. And then that's where you'll strip. So we're going to take that outer jacket off, because we don't want to take we want the jacket on where that weather tight fitting is. Then I just kind of break it, and I pull it. And I take and I fold this back against the jacket and take my knife and cut away from myself. Same on this side. Cut away from myself. Close that up so you don't stab yourself accidentally. Then inside this box there's a solar positive in red ink and solar negative in black ink. So this will be negative, this is positive. Again, when you have black and white wires, black is positive, white is negative. So since this is over here and positive is over there, I try to push the wire through with the black on the side it needs to go to. And then I just kind of tighten this up. I just push it through till I just see that jacket. That's where I marked it. And then I tighten this up enough to, just to hold on to the wire and give me some strain relief. And I'm going to take this black wire, take it over, it's going to be going in there. So I'm only going to strip off the thickness of that bus bar. In this case it's like 3/8 of an inch. So I want to strip off about 3/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to loosen the set screw right here. I'm going to place this wire in there. You want to make sure that the insulation doesn't go under that set screw. You want to screw down against the copper. And you don't want a bunch of strands laying out this side. So stripping to the right length is really good to prevent future shorts. And then same thing on this white wire. It's going to be going right here. So I want to strip. Basically, I want to cut the fit. I kind of eyeball it, look at it, trim off the extra, do my 3/8 of an inch strip on it. And since this is a shorter bend, I like to take my needle nose and put a little kink in the wire so it's easier to get where I need to go. I always twist the copper so that it's a tighter bundle of strands, since this is very fine stranded. I loosen this. Take this and I stick it in that hole and then tighten it down. So that's one panel coming in. If you had another panel, you'd come in and you'd do the same cut to fit and just lay right over the top of those. You can like push these down out of the way, and then you'd come to the next one and the next one and the next one and so on until you fill your box. And this one right in the middle here that has the bigger screw head, if you look inside this box close, you'll see that's a very large hole inside this box. And so you can put really fair-sized wire up through here and into that to carry all the combined power down. So once this is, your wires are all in, this is screwed down, it's all die-cored around, then you're going to take your lid, which has been cross-hatched to give it some strength against flexing. There's 6 screws. 4 of them are outside of the box and 2 are inside the box. Originally, when I had the mold made for this box, I just put the 4 in there, and people would tighten down and over tighten these 4 screws, and then the lid would bend up in the middle and it wouldn't be watertight in the middle anymore. So I went back to the mold, added the strength in with these cross hatches, added 2 more places for screws. On the back of this box, if you over tighten a screw and strip out the plastic, there's a molded place for a nut in here, so you can drop a nut in there and use a machine screw if you happen to strip out the plastic. So I guess my point here is all you need to do is bring the screw down till it hits, and just maybe 1/8 of a turn. You don't want to torque it down. There is a rubber gasket that runs around the inside of this whole lid that sits against this edge, and that's what's going to keep the water out. So you have the bag of screws necessary. You put 6 screws in here. I suggest you put the middle 2 in first to hold the middle down, and then when you tighten these, you won't bow it, okay? And then when you're done screwing it down, then I take Dicor. It's really important to put Dicor over the middle 2 holes so that no water can get past the screw and inside the box. The other screws are outside of the box, so you don't have to worry about those. So that's the combiner box, the roof combiner box. And I will tell you, hands down, 99.9% of people prefer this box over the reefer box that we did in the prior video. It's a lot harder to use this box. It's going down your refrigerator vent. It's kind of a booger to get the wires down that way sometimes. Plus you can use much larger wire in here, and you can set it wherever you need to have the shortest path between the solar panels and the charge controller. The shorter the path, the more efficient the system is. So that's our roof combiner box, and it's our preferred box. If we know that you're going to put more than 4 panels in, then we can pre-drill those holes and make sure you have enough fittings. If you know, when you buy a solar panel kit from us, it comes with the weather-tight fitting that panel needs to go into the box. We also, if you have a smooth fiberglass or metal roof, we have the little pads here that hold our black UV resistant zip ties. Again, you clean the roof with a little alcohol. Let's say this wire is heading off. We give you 5 of these. There's an average of 15 foot per panel. So, you know, you would stick one of these about every 3 feet, 5 times 3 being 15. And then you would just stick that to your roof and then zip the wire down so that when you're driving down the road, it's not going. Okay, and you can do a nice straight line. If you have to screw it down because you have a rubber roof or a textured roof, then we send wire ties with screw eyes in them, and the screws are in the bag. And then what we typically do is put a blob of Dicor, just a button of Dicor down, and we set this head down in there and then screw it down to your roof, and then we go around the wire and zip it tight. So this will go either way, pretty much whatever kind of roof you have. And this is just what we call our roof wire harness accessory kit. And so when you buy a solar panel kit from us, you get the solar panel, you get the mounts, you get these zip ties and the weather tight fitting and all the stuff it takes to get from your solar panel to your combiner box. So there's your introduction to our roof combiner box. I think you'll find this is the preferred box of most anyone who does any installations for any length of time. This is it. All right, we'll catch up with you on another video.